I was having so much satisfaction. I was reading the pattern totally wrong. Something's not quite right. So I was making a huge mess and I have to start literally from row 0 again. This whole knitting thing is all about making mistakes and be okay with making mistakes and be passionate enough to start again from scratch. Hello, today I am going to go and get some yarns for a pattern that I've actually, I think, spent like 2 hours to work out the math and see if I can actually do it. I've never done a Raglan sleeve before, like sweaters or cardigans, so this is going to be my first Raglan pattern. So I had to make sure that I understand the logic. I actually did spend like around 2 hours to just work out the math. Let me show you all the work that I had to do. So this is basically all my notes, just to figure out the whole pattern, and it wasn't written as clear as the other patterns that I've used so far. So far I've only knitted Sika's pattern. So her pattern are like, you know, like when you get used to like a designer, you're more comfortable with the structure of the pattern. And honestly, her patterns are like super well written, so you can actually understand every bit of it. It is like very less unclear sections. So if you're a beginner like me, I would really suggest again to try out with the designer's pattern that is like less work for you to do, because yeah, it's hard to get your head around all the maths and the design structure. Okay, so I went and bought some yarns the other day for a pattern for a cardigan that I had in mind. The cardigan that I had in mind was petite knit, I think agate cardigan. So I'll pop up the picture of it here. So I was planning to make that cardigan, so I went and bought in like yarns for that. The yarns that I bought were, so this along Avec Anna, this lovely color Jade, and in her pattern she actually mentions that she's holding one strand of like a fingering yarn, which is this one, and then one strand of silk mohair. So this is quite an expensive yarn, so I thought I'll probably just substitute the silk mohair and just use one fingering yarn. And then all this time I was thinking, oh no, that's really going to affect the final look of the cardigan, so I didn't really want to do that. So I was like, should I spend like another $100 to just get the silk mohair? And then at the same time, the pattern wasn't really something that caught my eyes. It was mainly me forcing myself to just choose a Raglan sleeve sweater. And then it's very similar to what I'm wearing. So this is also like a V-neck. It's not Raglan sleeve. This is like a drop shoulder pattern. So there was something about the pattern that I didn't really want to invest that much money for the yarn. Anyways, the day that I went to shop for the yarn, the lady in the shop actually, she told me that, yeah, she told me a bit about the producer. She said that she's like based in London and she also has patterns. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that she has patterns. So on the day, I came back and then just looked up her website and checked out her patterns, and her patterns were like super pretty, like very feminine. Like the best part is that she actually uses the same yarn, so you can actually have an idea of like what the final look of the project's going to turn out like, because she's using the same yarn. So I changed my mind to, it's called SilverLeaf pattern. So I mean, look at this, it's just so pretty, and it's the same, it's not the same color, this is more of like a bluish, but I can imagine how would this look like in this color Jade. And in this pattern she actually uses the same yarn with a silk mohair, but the good part is that it requires less yardage. So for the agate cardigan I needed like 7 of fingering in 7 mohair balls, but for this one I only need 5, so that will save me four skeins. So I'm actually planning to go back in today and change the extra 2 that I've got for the fingering one and get 5 silk mohair in the same color. And oh my god, the silk mohairs in this yarn, they look super, like the colors are amazing. I'm going to show you later once I bought the yarns. So yeah, I now plan to make this pattern. But yeah, as I said, I've never done a raglan pattern before. So I woke up early this morning, and the pattern is also like very different style than what I had in what I saw in Hika's patterns. So I was so used to that, and then I saw this, I was like, oh my god, what is going on? This is so confusing. I don't know what to do. And I was like, I had so many doubts. So I just woke up and then sat down and just got my head around the pattern. And she actually mentions at the very beginning that, attention, please read the entire pattern before you start knitting. So she really means that, because you can't, it's not a pattern that you can just sit down and, you know, like how some patterns just tell you exactly what to do in each row. So it requires a bit of like understanding, which I honestly enjoyed for some weird reason. I was having so much satisfaction of doing all this calculation. I felt like, oh my god, like I'm using my engineering brain in a way to actually understand the pattern, which was super cool because I've never done that before. So after spending that time and getting my head around the structure, I figured out it's actually not too complicated. It's just like a different way of like explaining, which is totally fine. It's just like designers have different preferences probably in how to explain their pattern, and I sort of like appreciated it as well. Like it gives you a feeling of like, okay, I'm not just following line by line, word by word what the pattern tells me to do. I'm also understanding like intuitively the structure behind the pattern. So you kind of like build a relationship with what you're doing and not just following, you know, like, if that makes sense. I don't know. So it was a successful attempt. I was finally fully knowing what I'm doing.
Several days later,
I made a mistake, and a very big one. I even actually took it a step further, that I wanted to change the neckline. So in the pattern, as you can see, the neckline is like a round neck. So I want a V-neck cardigan. So I'm not a big fan of like round neck. I feel like the V-neck is like, it gives it a bit of like a more feminine touch. I don't know, that's just my opinion. So I was thinking of like, what would I do if I want to change this pattern to a V-neck? Would that even make it more complicated? And then I figured that out as well. This is something that I got to try out and see how it's going to turn. But I actually understood like what I need to do for like, I'm not going to show this. This is not going to make any sense on the screen. But anyways, I figured that out as well. I hopefully it'll work out. Yeah, as I said, I need to test it as I go and just try it out and see where I actually want the V-neck to end, because I don't want it to be like a very deep V-neck like what I'm wearing. She actually has a similar cardigan. I'm going to share it up here. I think it's called the Rosa cardigan, which has a V-neck. I'm more keen to make the neckline more like that shape. So I think I can actually replicate it with the same pattern that I have. So fingers crossed, everything's gonna go fine. Okay, so now what I'm doing is that I'm going to go for another shop yarn, and I'm going to exchange these 2 with silk mohair and get 3 additional silk mohair. And then what I'm planning to do for this video is that I want to capture all the steps, the whole process of making this cardigan from scratch to the very final look. I think it's going to be like a fun video. I always enjoy videos that I see on YouTube that they actually start a pattern, they share the process, they share the whole mistakes and the challenges that they face, and the final look. It just gives you like the inspiration that you either want to do the same pattern or you feel like, okay, you know, like there's so much learnings in that, and I want to like give that a go and just share this whole pattern with you guys. So the first first step for me was to figure out the pattern, get the proper yarn for it, which I'm gonna do, and just complete the yarn that is needed for this pattern. And yeah, I'm gonna share the whole journey. So let's go. Okay, so I just got back from the yarn store and I got the silk mohair. Look at that. Oh my god, the color is beautiful. I don't know if it's, yeah, look. And now I'm pairing this with this, so that's how it's going to turn out. Very nice. So I've got 5 skeins of the silk. I had to change 2 of the fingering one, Merino. So this is 72% fine kid mohair and 28% silk. I did have to pay a bit of extra, but that's fine because at least now I've got the fabric. I know that I'm creating the fabric that I really want. And I've actually never knitted anything using silk mohair, so I'm super excited. Yeah, so I bought my yarn. I've got everything. Yeah, this yarn shop, it's super nice. And yeah, the lady, there's like 2 ladies there that they're super like helpful. Always when I go, I share, like ask questions. They always help me out with yarn suggestions, and they always compliment my knitting wear as well, which is the fun part. I had to buy a short 4.5 needle as well. I've got this Chow Gu. I've heard a lot about this, but I never actually tried it, so I want to give it a go. Yeah, I've heard so many good things about the actual string, which yeah, it looks cool. So yeah, today I think I won't be able to start the cast on. I'll see how I go. If I did, as I said, I'm going to capture everything for this particular project that I'm doing, and I'm super excited to get this along with you all, and hopefully it's going to be fun. There's so many challenges I think that I'm going to face, and so many new things that I will learn out of this pattern. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the cast on part. I want to unravel. Let's do it without thinking about it too much. Okay, my brain is now going like screaming. Don't do this. Okay, I'm trying to be more careful this time with the increases. Maybe I'm just learning the raglan construction. I usually, you know, like when you make a mistake and then you're kind of like doubting that if you should unravel or should you just let it go, or you come up with like ideas of like how to fix it. For me, it really depends on like what the issue is. If it's something that it's really not going to be noticeable in the final look, I wouldn't really be bothered. But since this is something new that I'm making, like a raglan cardigan knitted, I don't really know like having one stitch on or off, like would it really matter? Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know, maybe I just got like I shouldn't have unraveled, but it's okay. I mean, you're never going to really remember these unravelings after you finish the project. You're only going to enjoy it. Okay, I think I'm just going to continue this and just focus a bit more, and I'll come back and share you the progress if I'll end up making any. We'll see. Okay, so I managed to get back to where I was. It didn't take that long this time. It was pretty quick, but I haven't like moved literally from the last time that I unraveled it because I just wanted to get it back to where it was. But it looks much better this time, so I don't have those like, you know, like the loose stitches, and it's sort of like taking shape now. So that's the stitch. So I think, yeah, it's sort of like I'm kind of excited because I've never really knitted the raglan shape before, so I'm like really enjoying how it's like taking shape. I've only done like drop shoulders before, so this is like very new and I'm enjoying it, especially now that I don't need to look at the pattern. I just keep adding the increases. So I think I've got now I think I need like 4 more, 1 2 3 more raglan increases, and then I'll bring in the neck increases. I think I'll continue doing this tonight. I don't know if I'll be able to like take videos because I'm going to go to my sister's and I'm taking this with me, but I'm going to show like the latest I'll get tonight from this, and yeah, let's see how we go. And it started to rain now, so yeah, the weather was like very crazy today. Do I regret unraveling? Definitely no. It's only that very first moment that you have to decide to just pull out the needles and then unravel. But once you're back to where you were and you feel like, oh, okay, maybe I did the right thing. So yeah, it's looking good, looking very good. I made a mistake, and a very big one. I was reading the pattern totally wrong, and I only realized this when I was about to finish the raglan increases. I'm still very frustrated. This all happened last night. So basically I was just about to, like, I thought I was about to finish the Raglan increases, but literally I was doing something totally wrong. There is a section at the end of the pattern that it says it's like only for additional, it's like additional notes for you to understand the lace motifs for the sleeve. So it basically just gives a chart, which is not exactly what you need to follow, and it literally says that as well. So it says additional note on how to integrate the lace on the sleeves, and it says be careful, and it literally says this in like bold letters. This is not a chart to follow exactly as the number of stitches and blah blah blah. So this was just like additional notes. And anyways, I'll just cut it short. What I was knitting would fit like an extra large man. That's how big it was becoming. Like, imagine when I had to stop, when I was supposed to stop the Raglan increases, I was repeating the Raglan increases for another set of rows, and that's like double the size. It was a mess. And then how I realized was, I got to the point that was like, the pattern was asking for cast on like 7 more stitches at the beginning of the row, which was like, I finished my neckline like ages ago. So I was just like continuing, like no increases in the front. And then after like a few rows, like 10, 15 rows, it suddenly asked for like cast on 7 stitches at the beginning of the row, which was like the front placket. And I was like, wait, what? Like 7 stitches, like what is that? And I started to look at the photos. I was like, what is going on? And I think I mentioned yesterday that the reason that I changed the neckline from a round neck to a V-neck kind of like messed up the stitches, the stitch counts for the sleeves, and that wasn't what happened. So that was only because I've made a mistake, and a big one. The neck shape wouldn't really wouldn't affect anything for the stitch counts, because that's just like the front panel, and the sleeve panel is like separate, so the counts won't matter. And all the way I always had this like feeling of like something's not quite right. I knew it was turning out so big, I knew my counts were a bit off, but I just didn't listen to it. And I'm just so, I have to say, a bit disappointed that I should have realized much earlier. But only this part of the pattern, if I went the first time, because I did read the pattern pretty like in details before I started, like I showed all the notes that I've took. But only this section that says cast on 7 stitches, that should have been like an indication of like, hey, I'm doing something wrong. The first time I read it, but I just didn't pay attention to it that much. I even sent an email to the support, like there's an email at the end of the pattern that if you've got questions. Last night I was even asking ChatGPT, like that's how desperate and frustrated I was. I was like, hey, what are these cast on stitches? What is going on? And he was like trying to ask, he was like, I don't know, I need more information. So I was just like taking screenshots of like the parts before that cast on and after that, just to give him details enough that he could help me out. I don't know why I'm referring to ChatGPT as a he. I don't know. But it couldn't understand. And it was just like, I couldn't get anything useful out of it. But there was like, it actually gave me one hint, and it was like, if it's asking for cast on for the beginning of the round, it can be like for shaping the neckline. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. I finished the neckline like ages ago. I'm way beyond the neck shaping. So what else? Okay, I sent an email to the support email and asked like, can you please help me understand what these cast on stitches are for? I just don't get it. There was like an automatic reply that we only respond to emails on Mondays and like, I don't know, one other day. And it was like a Saturday. So I was like, I can't wait for Monday. And so I went to the Ravelry page and I went to, and this is an old pattern. Like there's not much of like projects that you see, not on Instagram. Like the ones that you find on Instagram, they're like 2021 or 2022 at the most. So it's a very old pattern, which it's not a wise thing to do if you're new to knitting. It's better to just choose patterns that are quite new so you can find other people that had made it recently to reach out if you need help or to find at least enough information. So I went to their Ravelry page and there was like 5 comments, only 5. And 3 of them were in French. So I had to like put them in ChatGPT again. Hey, translate this. And there was one comment. One of the comments was like someone that was so pissed. It was like, this is my 2nd attempt and I don't know what is going on. It's like, I was that person last night. So I was a bit frustrated with the pattern as well. But honestly, this has nothing to do with the pattern. This is only the fact that I'm not as experienced as reading charts and tables at the same time. So this is all on me. I don't want to put anything against the pattern. The pattern is just like, if you know, you know, like it's that sort of a pattern of like, if you know, you know. So I would think it's just not a beginner friendly pattern, which is totally fair enough. Like not all designers have to give enough details that everyone can do it. Maybe like some of the patterns are not as beginner friendly, and I'm probably came from an angle of like trying out Kika's patterns, which are like the most, at least so far, I've only done 3 patterns from 3 different designers, and Kika's patterns are the best. Like she's literally my legend in helping me in holding my hand across this whole journey. Okay, so there was that one comment and there was another long comment again in French, but the translation was someone was like knitting in a size like way bigger than mine, and she was asking that, I don't know, something about the chart. And so there's a table and there's a chart. The chart was the one that was like giving you additional information. It's not to be exactly followed. And the table is where it actually tells you where to make increases for the raglan and then increases for the neckline and where to stop. And you gotta like look because the sleeves have only the sleeves have the lace motifs, and then for the lace motifs you've got to follow the chart. So it's the charts and the tables for the whole thing, so you gotta follow them at the same time. And this was another word that I didn't pay enough attention to. So you need to follow the instructions in the chart to know where to make the increases, and at the same time follow the instructions on page blah 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 for the lace on the sleeves. So I wasn't doing that. I was doing page 1 and then 2 and then table and then 3 and then chart. So I was making a huge mess. And when I realized this, I was like, I'm actually keen to see what would this turn out like. Is it just going to be like just a super huge cardigan, or is it just going to be something super funny? Well, we never found out. Yeah, so there was a hint in that question, and I'm actually glad that I did check that out, because that was where I realized what I was doing wrong. In that question, it was referring to the table where the neckline ends, and then it was referring to that the chart is not exactly telling me to end the neckline where the table says. And that gave me the hint that, oh my God, I have to read the table and the chart at the same time, not as separate things, like finish the table first and then follow the chart. That was like doubled everything that I had to do. And yes, that was the moment that I realized that, oh wow, I've made the whole pattern wrong, and I have to start literally from row 0 again, because the lace motifs for the sleeves starts from the very beginning, and I was starting like the lace motifs from like here, which was like quite off. Yeah, and I had a moment of like, I wanted to cry. I wanted to just leave it and be like, I don't want this, I don't like this, I just But yeah, I just had a moment and it was super late. I don't usually go to sleep that late. It was like 12:15 when I realized what I did, and I unraveled the whole thing. And then yeah, I started to cast on again. So long story short, we are back to day 1, which is fun. So that's again how much we've got. So that's the sleeve motifs, which were supposed to happen from the very beginning. Oh, focus. Yep. So that's what it was supposed to happen from the very beginning of the row. And I've got the back sleeve. But I can tell that now I can just like put the pattern aside and just do this on top of my head, because I've read this 6-7 pages like millions of times now. So I'm like, I know it all. I know it all. And I hope I'm not going to make any other mistake, because that will be really embarrassing, me saying this. So yeah, now I'm pretty confident and I'm 100%, probably it's not best to say that I'm 100% sure what I'm doing, but I'm way more confident about the neck shape, because I know that's not going to affect my sleeves at all. It's just going to be like spreading out the neck increases across, so it's going to make that gradual v-neck shape, and I'm just going to end wherever I feel like I want to end. So I have to try it on as I go. That was fun. That was really fun. And I was even thinking, like, I've got this whole emotional thing like going on, and at the same time I was like, oh my god, I am filming this whole thing, so it's not just me knowing that what a big mistake that I made. Everyone else, if anyone really is watching this video, they would also know. And that even made me feel a bit worse. But at the same time, I was like, that's okay. That's really fine. Like, this whole knitting thing is all about making mistakes and be okay with making mistakes and be passionate enough to start again from scratch. Maybe sometimes you really gotta start from scratch if it's a mistake that you can't fix, you know, like there's so many mistakes that you can fix like pretty easily, but this was like a no-no. Like, this was like literally something like I don't know what I was thinking. I think I know. I think I was like so used to like line by line, row by row instructions in patterns by Kika, and then I came across this one, which was like not similar. I had to figure things out myself. So what I'll be doing today, I'm going to continue on this as far as I can go. I really want to get at least close to where I was before, and then I'm going to come back to show you. Welcome to day, I think 5? I don't know, 5 or 6 or 4. I have separated the sleeves and the body this morning. So I'm super happy and relaxed now. So basically the unraveling and the frogging and starting from like day 0, that was a bit of like disappointment for me. So I had to, like, in order to overcome that frustration, I had to like at least reach to a point that I had to undo the whole thing. And as I said before, I was literally doing everything like twice. So I didn't even have to do as much as rows that I did before. That was super quick to reach to like the end of the Raglan increases. So I did take like a video of how it looks, like how it fits on my body. So I'm just gonna show it. But this is actually how it turned out. So I'm just doing the body now, so I separated like there's like a real stitch marker game going on the sleeves, because I did not want to make any mistakes in the lace patterns on the sleeves. It's not a complicated pattern at all. It's just that for the counts, for me to just keep track of the counts, I thought this is just like the easiest way to just put, because after each raglan increases at a certain point, you did end up having enough stitch counts to add another lace repeat, if that makes sense. So that's for that. And then now the sleeves are resting. I did like that much of the body as well. So not much, maybe just like 4 or 5 rounds. But I was just so excited to see how it turned out. And also the neck shape, the V-neck shape, actually is exactly the length that I wanted. So once I tried it on, it was like ending like around here. So I did say that I don't want like a super deep V-neck. I wanted something like pretty narrow, and I did achieve that. And honestly, it was super easy to follow. Like once I figured everything out, as I said previously, I wasn't even looking at the pattern this time. I was just doing like everything, you know, like I knew how to do everything, like the raglan increases. Only for the lace repeats and the lace patterns, I had to look at the chart, which is like just an 11 row repeat, and it's still so easy to memorize. So only for the lace patterns I was having a look at the pattern, but other than that, it's just like basic stockinette stitches with some increases for the raglan and the neckline. So now I'm going to continue with the body. I was so tempted to leave the body and just go get the sleeves done, because the lace pattern is gorgeous. I know it's a bit like wonky now, because obviously lace patterns do require wet blocking, and it just makes a whole difference after you make it, like after you block it and then you make it a bit like neat. So I wanted to finish up the lace, like the sleeves. Yeah, I don't know, I might do that at like once I reach like to the middle of the body, or I might just finish the body and just get to the sleeves. Now that I've got the sleeves on hold, it's just easier to finish the body. And since it's not like a super oversized cardigan, it's just like not that many stitches, so it's going super fast. And then with knitting flat, I don't know, like it obviously depends on like how experienced you are in knitting, of course, but for my level of experience, when I knit in like rows, like not in rounds, when I do have to do like knit stitches and then purl stitches on the wrong side, I do sometimes get a bit of like an uneven tension. I don't know if it's like super visible, and obviously blocking would help with it, but I'm not 100% happy with my tension. And I know that's because my purl stitches are usually a bit looser. So I was also looking up some YouTube videos again to see if there's like any techniques or tips for continental knitters to help to get the purl stitches a bit tighter. So I'm trying out a new technique, which I think is sort of helping, because the last few rounds that I've did seems much more cleaner. But I know it now, it's fine. Like the first bit is not too bad, and I know blocking will help it, but I'm much more happier. I don't know if I can show you like the difference that it made. So I'll probably maybe just take like a close shot of this later to show the difference. Yeah, it looks much better. I'm amazed actually. So it's not a very big difference in what I was already doing. It's just like when you're trying to pull through the yarn, you use your right hand thumb to just like hold it and then pull it through, because that, other than like I wasn't using my right hand at all. I was just using my left hand to bring the yarn down and then pull it through itself. But with holding the thumb on the yarn while you're pulling it through, it just helps the tension of the yarn to not get too loose. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I know it's helping. So I'm glad I did look it up, because there was something about the tension, and I know that always happens when you're knitting things in round. So yeah, I think from now I'll be a bit more quicker, because I know like the rest of the whole thing, and then I've just got to finish up the ribbing as well. The pattern does have like an I-cord ending for the neck, because it was a round neck, and I modified that. So for me, it's going to be just like I think one ribbing throughout the whole like front and the neck placket. So that's an update. That's a pretty good update. So I'm super glad that I didn't just like give up once I realized that I made a huge mistake, and I continued. And the next time it actually went by super fast. Firstly, because I was so motivated to just reach back to where I was. And if I even show you, like I did frog the yarn and I just wrapped it around the yarns, the ball that I had. So if you see, I still have like much more left to reach to the yarn that I did frog. So the ones in the middle, so those two, so that's the Mohair and that's the other one. And the ones that I've just wrapped around is like what I frogged. So I still haven't reached to the point that I ended up, and I already separated sleeves and body. So I think that's a good indication of like showing how much extra fabric I was producing. Can't believe it. This will be funny like later when I remember what I did. So yeah, anyway, so that was a quick update. I'll probably continue doing the body tonight, and then maybe I need like a day or two to finish the body, and then I'll do the sleeve. But I'll keep you updated. And yeah, I'm so glad now. And when I tried it on, it looked so pretty. Like the size was amazing. I think it was like the perfect size, but it's going to be slightly looser when I block it, which is even better, because I did want it to not be too snug. I think blocking would help definitely with that. I'll see you guys maybe once I finish the body. We'll see. done. Oh my god, it turned out really nice. I love it. It's slightly small. I don't know, I think I might have liked it a tad more like with positive ease. It's like a nice fit. So this is the back. The sleeves actually did grow quite a lot after blocking. So I don't mind the long sleeves because I usually do like roll up. I really like it. It's super soft. After I blocked it, it became like very like nice. It's actually touching my skin, so it's not too like itchy. So yeah, I was having a look at the other cardigan that she had. I mentioned this before. I think it's called Rosa Cardigan, which had a v-neck. So that was the shape, v-neck shape that I was actually aiming for. And I was having a look at the photos, and I did see that for that version as well, they have this, the first button open. It looks exactly the same as what I have here. So yeah, I don't know, like accidentally I just replicated that same pattern. What else do I have to say about this? I mean, the color is so nice. I love it. It's like this lovely sage green. I love how the mohair is like fluffy. I really love it. I think I would definitely make this again, but next time I will make it like the next size, because I think I did gauge swatch for this one. I was 1 stitch off, but I thought since this is like a superwash merino, it'll like grow a lot with blocking, but it didn't really. Like it was like it didn't grow that much other than the sleeves, which was expected because it's like lace. So I don't know, I'm thinking of maybe like giving this to my sister because she's like smaller body size than me, so it'll fit her like pretty well. And then maybe just make another one. But for now, I'm super happy. I'm like planning to just like, I don't know, dress it up with like a dress, see how it looks. I need like a dress that has like an upper, like a tighter upper body. So it won't like, you know, I can't really wear this on anything with positive ease because it won't look nice. Like I was trying this on another top before, to just like do the final reveal, and it didn't really look that nice. So I need to find out like the best way to style it. But yeah, okay, my mic just died, so I just had to redo the last bit. That was all I had for this video. Thank you so much for everyone who followed along. If you've got to this point of the video and if you liked it, please feel free to give the video a thumbs up, and also let me know if this type of videos are like something that you guys enjoy. I did really enjoy it, like filming everything from day 0 to the final look. This type of videos always gave me a lot of inspiration. That's like one of my favorite types. That's what I thought, just to give it a go. I am thinking of like making similar types later with my other projects, but yeah, I would love to know if this was something that you enjoyed as well. I guess that's all for this one. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.